everybody, it's me, Dusti Martin at Corcoran Platinum Living. If you're on my friends list, you know who I am, where I work, what I do. I sell the houses and I know the things. That's my job. Anyway, so went on a listing appointment today, and we were talking a lot about what to do. They're planning to move out of state, and they're going to a state that is almost as hot as Arizona in terms of the housing market. And so they've just kind of resigned in their mind that they're going to rent, right? But it kind of brings it back to me. Like, I get a lot, and I mean a lot of buyers that come through my database. And statistically, I think 67% of all home buyers have a house to sell. And almost all of them are looking for their next house before they even consider selling the one they're in, because inventory is so low. But here's some stats that maybe you might not realize. For example, our demand is way up on homes and our inventory is super low. But if you actually look at the number of sales year over year, it's actually increased. The only way there can be more sales is if more houses have been sold and put on the market. The problem is there's just not enough to satiate demand, right? So how do we free up some of that? Some of you know that I have like my matchmaker list that I've started. I'm putting properties on in there, and I'm trying to find, where I have sellers who have something to sell that the masses will love, but they can't find their next house. So I'm trying to, do some matchmaking there. But also, more often than not, a seller will tell me, I want to sell my house. I'm ready for the next stage of life, but I don't know where I'm going to go. There's nothing on the market. And when there is something on the market, it's usually pending before I even get the time to check my email to see that it was even available to begin with. So there's a few things that you can do to mitigate that. First thing you can do is, like what these potential new clients are going to do, is they've just decided they're going to rent and do either a short-term or long-term rental in the marketplace that they're going to up in Colorado. A lot of people are going into an Airbnb because they don't want to be committed to a 6 or 12-month timeline. There's that. You can rent. There's lots of people who are doing that. And to be honest, the getting is good so much right now. That might be worth it to have 37 offers on your house. And so what? You rent a month or two, put everything in storage or a pod, and have it delivered when you do find a new house. That's not a bad gig in order to capitalize and take that cash out. The other thing you can do is what's called a contingent offer, meaning you can make an offer on your house contingent on you selling your home. I don't necessarily advise that right now, simply because a contingent offer in this market isn't the strongest. And a good agent is going to call them up and say, look, I understand it's contingent, but this thing's going to sell like a hot cake, and they're going to be super dialed in and realistic with their pricing and all of that. And you can do it that way. But at the same time, when they've got a stack of offers and one is cash and can close in 15 days, your offer may not get accepted or even considered, especially when the stack on some in our local market are going like 15 offers, like minimum on any given house in certain neighborhoods. And I've heard upwards of 45 offers. So it just kind of depends on the house, the price point. So then we have that. So you can do a contingent offer. I don't recommend it. The other thing you can do is list your house, get it on the market, hire someone like yours truly to market the crap out of it, right? And then you have your pick of all the buyers. And buyers are so desperate right now. They just want to be under contract. They don't care. Like you could get that sold, make your contingent offer, but then already be through the inspection process. And then we can negotiate for you either a closing timeline that works for you, or a rent back or a lease back. In other words, you close on your house, you have the money to go shopping, so you're no longer a contingent buyer. And then you've got 30, 60, 90, 120 days to be able to go find your next house. A transaction takes about 30 days, 45 days if you have some hiccups. So if you can do all of that and do it effectively, you can get rid of your contingency just by finding the one buyer who will wait. And right now, buyers are so desperate, they just may do that. So keep that in mind. There is also such a thing called a bridge loan, where you take out a loan on your house and then you purchase your new house with it. And then when your home sells, you pay off the bridge loan. I'm not a huge fan of debt. I don't like that. It definitely is a great option for somebody who's got a lot of equity in their house. But like I said, you're still accumulating some temporary debt there. It's not my favorite, but it is an option. Like I said, you can always do a reverse contingency. And you're thinking, well, what's a reverse contingency? It means your house doesn't sell and close, and you write that into the contract unless you find another house. So you could legitimately write a contract with no closing date and make it solely contingent on you finding a place. So there's lots of ways to do that. And so we get back to the question, is it a good time to sell? Do you like money? Because I have never, and we've been in a prolonged seller's market in Arizona for, longer than I have been licensed, which is just over 7 years. It wasn't always this hot, this crazy. It was like seller's market, like 4 months of supply as opposed to no months of supply. So it's definitely had its varying shades and ups and downs and little fluctuations, but it's been a prolonged seller's market for about 7-8 years. The very bottom of our market was like December of 2010, early 2011. And that was the very bottom. And we were definitely a hardcore buyer's market from 2008 all the way to 2011. And then we slowly climbed out of it. And then I got licensed very early in 2014. And by then, things were hot, things were hopping. I think one of the first homes I sold, there was something like 6 offers. And my client beat that out. But at the time, there was also still a lot of foreclosures and other things. So hot properties in hot neighborhoods definitely had people fighting over them, but maybe not necessarily the short sales and the foreclosures. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, so you could do a reverse contingency. There's all manner of things you could do. The other thing you can do is you could take out a home equity line of credit, where you basically borrow against your home. Say you've got a bunch of capital sitting there, a bunch of equity in your home. You take out that home equity line of credit, and then you go use that as the down payment so that you no longer have a contingency either way in order to sell your home. You could refinance. You could pull out cash, do a cash out refinance, use that as the down payment for your home, and again, pay it off when you sell. So there's several ways to work that. But with that said, with me being all long-winded, I think this is probably going to be a smaller window in time. I don't think it's going to keep up at this crazy pace all year. I don't feel like that's sustainable. Yes, we'll still be in a seller's market, but I think interest rates are going to start creeping up. We've already seen evidence of that. Just a few weeks ago, they were down like 2.5, 2.7. Now they're back up to 2.9 in there. And so depending on the type of loan product that you're getting, like I said, I feel like this is a great window of opportunity that we may or may not see again. I don't know how long it's going to last. That's the one thing, is because things are so crazy white hot. There is almost no inventory. I looked late last night before I went to bed, and there was less than 3,000 active listings in all of the Arizona Regional MLS system. That's a lot of inventory we don't have. That is like, that's so far off where we should be. There should be like a 0 after that. There should be an extra 0. It should be 25 to 30,000 listings. But we've always been a state where people come to retire to and move to for a lower cost of living. And to be honest, I feel like if you're sitting on the sidelines and you're waiting to buy because there's nothing, then you're going to hurt yourself, because prices are going up at an alarming rate. In some places, I'm seeing home values go up like 10% in 30 days, simply because they're getting listed at $250 and they're closing at $300 for cash, or, mid threes and closing at $470, all cash, no inspection, no repairs. And a lot of them are people coming from out of state. So if you're an Arizona local resident and a native, if you're sitting on the sidelines because it's getting a little too crazy and you're not sure what to do, but you do know that you're at a point in life where you either need to upsize, downsize, or whatever's not working for you anymore, you need to get in the game. You need to start slugging it out, because especially if you have a home to sell, because your offer is going to go to the top once you have dealt with the sale of your home. And there's so many ways to deal with it. And I mean, when things are ripe, that's when you jump. We already know interest rates are going up. The feds have already signaled that it's going to go up throughout the year, which means things will cool off. We'll still have a lot of buyers. We will. There's no way around that. But I think when it comes down to it, this is probably one of the best times in our lifetime. In fact, it's the best time for sellers basically since NAR has started tracking inventory in like 1980 or 82, I think is when they started tracking like national home inventory. This is the best it's ever been in my lifetime for sellers. It's not like the last bubble where we had 8 to 10 months of inventory and buyers buying second, third, fourth homes. It's not that at all. We legitimately have baby boomers and millennials, the two largest demographic groups, fighting over homes because there's not enough of them. And what is the absolute best time to sell any product? When you have something that literally everyone wants and can't get their hands on. That's when you sell. It doesn't matter if it's a stock. It doesn't matter if it's tennis shoes. It doesn't matter if it's blue jeans, a house, a car. When you have something that everyone wants, that's when you jump. So if you guys have questions, give me a call, 480-717-9405, or visit my website, dustimartinrealtor.com. Or if you want to see if there's maybe a buyer who will wait for your timeline, but you don't want to technically put your house on the market, let me know. I've got that list. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just for me. And then I use that to match it up with my buyers who will work on your terms to make sure that you don't go homeless. Anyway, have a great day, guys. Bye.